So, my friend, I want to ask you, have you been listening to some of my podcasts for a while and identified for yourself all the areas that you feel your business could be better in? Maybe you just are so busy, you haven't yet mastered the working as much as you like bit. Or maybe you're just not bringing in the money, like you're struggling with the income, or it's just not enough. Well, it's time for us to have a conversation. In the show notes, there is a link to my evolution call. If you're a dance boss and you are ready to take action, let's have a chat and let's see where I can take you. Hello and welcome, lovelies, to the Ultimate Dance Business Podcast. My name is Deborah Laws, the dance business expert. My passion is to help you turn your passion into profit while guiding you to work less and earn more. I'm super excited to share interviews with you that I know will inspire and motivate you in your schools, as well as my solo shows where I shall be sharing some great tips and strategies. So if you love the show, please do remember to review, subscribe, and share it with your fellow dance boss friends. So let's get stuck into the business of dance. So, are you ready to dive into automations with me? Now, before we even get started on this week's podcast, I would just like to address the concerns that a few people have kind of said to me in the past when I talk about automating certain things within the school. And that is that people are sometimes concerned that when you start automating things, you lose that personal touch. And I know that to so many of you, having that very personal, kind of family-friendly feel to your business is really important. And people feel like, oh, if you just start sending out bulk generic emails, it starts to lose that personality. Well, I have some thoughts around that. And my thoughts are based around the fact that when things are left to me to be done manually, say I create a lovely welcome email when someone new starts the school, or say there's a process that needs me to take time to sit and write it or do it. When things get really busy, it's always those things that get put on the back burner. They drop down our priority list. So maybe you have a new student that makes an inquiry and they don't get that lovely email from you straight away because you were so busy. It was the week before your show or your exams, and you just had to reply with one quick sentence email reply rather than write them a really nice reply. When you have certain things automated, they will get that lovely reply every single time. There's no, sorry, our automation technology, whatever software or apps you're using is a bit busy at the moment, tied up doing tasks for the show. So they're not going to send that email. Like technology, I know it does fail sometimes, but technology is generally fairly robust and is going to do it no matter what. Whereas we don't always have the bandwidth to keep up all the things all the time. Sometimes we drop a few balls. Sometimes things start to suffer, like our beautiful customer service, our onboarding processes, our sending newsletters out in time, giving people information when they should have it, because we get so bogged down, we can't hold all the plates any longer. So when you create certain things, and I'm not saying everything, but certain things within your school are automated, it actually means a better, more consistent customer service than probably when it's just left to you to do it yourself. And you can also do it in ways that mean that it is actually still very personalized. It doesn't feel like a generated, AI robot that's created a blanket email to the world. It can still be very done in a very personal way. So I hope that has helped potentially some people that kind of go, oh, automation, and turn their noses up. Maybe that's just helped with the mindset around this a little bit. Okay, so let's get stuck into what does automation look like for a dance school? What could you potentially get a system a piece of software, an app, some form of technology to do for you so that you no longer have to do it? Interesting. Well, the first question I'd like to ask you is, what would you like to be able to automate? Why don't you make a list of all the things that you currently have to do yourself that you would love to no longer have to do if something out there existed? You'd be amazed what can actually be done for you if you investigate and you find out how. But let's talk about some of the things that I'm aware of and that a lot of my clients and my members are automating. So the first thing is using a CRM. So a CRM stands for Customer Relations Management or Customer Relations System. It's basically somewhere, a piece of software that you use where you keep everybody's data. So the parent or parents or carers information, the students' information, so addresses, date of birth, medical history, all that kind of thing. What classes they're doing. So you'd have your whole timetable in this software. You kind of add them into the classes, and then you can print or digitally have on your devices registers. You can show things like, who still owes money on the register or what child has a nut allergy. So these are all things that you can have information at your fingertips using technology. You can very often use these CRMs on phones, iPads, not just desktop and laptop. So your teachers can have access to certain things, so they can do things like registers and have emergency telephone numbers. But you can also create things like show running orders. You can automate your invoicing, chasing payments. You can automate reminders when people have booked on to come to classes. You can even automate messages being sent out to wish people happy birthday on the day of their birthday, so that you don't have to, or maybe you don't do that anyway, but you don't have to think about doing that. Some of these things are extra touches that you wouldn't normally do because you can't possibly have time to send a text to every person on their birthday. But a piece of software could do that for you, and it still looks like it's come from you personally. I even know that some of them, you can put in all your teachers and their DBSs, their first aid certificates, their insurance information, and when things run out, and then the system, the CRM that you're using, will send out an email reminder to that teacher, letting them know that their first aid certificate is due to run out in 2 months' time. You don't even have to do it. So just think about the time that it would save you to have all of your teachers' documents and policies sending out reminders, and them just then coming to you saying, here's my new DBS, here's my new chaperone license. I went and got it updated. Thanks so much for reminding me 3 months ago. I've booked onto my first aid certificate. Here's my new first aid. And you didn't even have to do anything. Like, this is what I'm talking about in terms of automation, so that it takes time away off your hands, the things that you are normally manually having to do. Now, these CRMs, there are many, many thousands of these, but there are specific ones done and created for dancing schools, for dance studios. So a few examples are Think Smart, who run Dance Biz. You've got companies like MemberMeister, Class Manager, Love Admin, Jackrabbit, Dance Studio Pro. Who have I forgotten? Class for Kids. Like, there are lots out there. Do your research. They all do different things. They all charge different amounts of money. My thought process is, and this is just me, but my thought process is, don't go for the cheapest. The cheapest probably doesn't have the same level of functions as some of the others. And even though you may not need some of the more advanced, more complex things that some of the best softwares use, you may not need it now, but you might need it in a year's time. You might need it in 2 years' time, when you've learned a lot more about business and you've freed up the time to do more things, to look at bigger overviews of your school, to use the software to its fullest. And if you have then invested a lot of time and money into populating and using that software, and you're like, oh, really want it to do X, But this software doesn't do that. I'm now going to have to change CRMs and relearn and use a whole new. That's not great. So I would look at, you get what you pay for. And potentially, if the business can afford it, don't just go for the cheapest. You'll outgrow it fairly quickly. Okay. So I haven't even touched on half the things that this software does. I just wanted to give you a picture of what it does. And I personally, if you wanted my recommendation, I always recommend DanceBiz, which is ThinkSmart software, because that was the one I used. I know it well, and I know the guys at ThinkSmart really well. They're really going places. There's lots of new, wonderful up and coming changes that a lot of other software potentially isn't going to have. I think that they have everything you could possibly need. And they've been around. The customer service is excellent. That would be my personal recommendation. But I don't even know the half of what it does nowadays. So definitely book a chat to speak to these people, whether it's ThinkSmart or somebody else, and have a little go at the trials. They all offer free trials. Have a little go, dip into them and see what you think. Now, as well as having a CRM and using a CRM in your business, I also want you to think about not just how great it would be if you had one, but the time that it's going to save you in the office if you had one. ThinkSmart did a survey with their customers a little while ago now, and the average number of hours that a dance school saved when they started to use DanceBiz was 42 hours a month. 42 hours a month. I cannot tell you how game-changing that is. Well, I probably don't need to tell you. You can imagine. I'm thinking it with my business head on. Think of all the marketing that you could do in that time instead. Think of all the strategy and the analyzing and the developing and the growth strategies that you got in place if you had an additional 42 hours. Like, we're talking transforming your dance school stuff. So if it costs you a few pounds a month, a year, and they do cost, and so they should, because they're buying back hours and hours of your time, I think it's worth every penny. And I would also say it's worth the headache, and it is a headache. I'm not going to be kind to any of this software. It is a headache setting all this stuff up. It is going to take your time. You could find it really challenging, but you guys have got to push through that stuff. You've got to find the time. You've got to push through the fact that it's technology and you might not love technology. You've got to push through implementing something new when it feels like what you currently do works. It doesn't currently work because you're not maximizing and using your time the best you can in your business. I want you to embrace it, and I want you to push through with it, because when you do and you come out the other side and you're like, oh my gosh, I never have to send another invoice. Oh my gosh, I never have to spend hours trying to work out my running order anymore because my CRM does it for me. Like, some of these things, you will not believe how life-changing, how game-changing they are in your business. So I really want you to breathe in, take a deep breath, tackle this head on bravely. You can do it, guys. And look at some of this automation that could be changing your dance school. Now, I would love to invite you to the Dance Business Conference, which is held in Birmingham in the UK. This is a wonderful 2-day event where you are going to listen to some incredible keynote speakers. You're going to do some workshopping. You're going to learn lots of new things around running your dance school. You're going to meet lots of exhibitors that have businesses that could be great for you to work with. But more importantly, we're going to make friends, we're going to have fun, and we're going to hang out together, all learning how to be inspired and motivated to run a better school. And of course, we also have the Gala Dinner Dance, which is the red carpet event of the year for dance school owners, where we present the Dance Business Awards. So if you would like to exhibit or sponsor the conference, if you would like to attend or enter the Dance Business Awards, then please go to www.dancebusinesssolutions.com, where you can buy your tickets, find out more information, and hopefully come join me on the 8th and 9th of August. See you there. Okay, let's move on to a different type of automation. So the other thing that I think is really important in your school is great communication. Like, there is nothing nicer than a whole bunch of happy students and parents. And they're normally happy when they know what's going on, they're really well informed, and they have plenty of notice. None of our parents like things being sprung at them last minute. And I'm not talking 24 hours, I'm talking 3 months. Like, they want to know this stuff a really long time before, when your show dates are, when exams are, when the extra coaching lessons are going to be, when rehearsals are, when they have to pay for something. They want lots and lots of notice. This requires lots and lots of pre-planning and great communication. So in terms of communicating, how are you going about that? And particularly, I want you to think about new students coming into your school. How do you communicate with them all the beautiful reasons why they should join your school? How do you tell them what your school is all about, what you stand for, what your values are, what's important to you, what you do in your school, what you get up to each year? How do you explain to them some of the beautiful community events that you do, the retention events, the bonding things, that when you all come together as a school, they need to know that they're going to get all this if they sign up with you. How do they know how it's going to affect their child physically, emotionally, and socially? How do they know the teachers are all fabulous, that the principal is fabulous? Like, all the things they need to know to make an informed decision to sign up to your school should all be beautifully communicated in a series of emails, little videos, texts, information that is given to them as part of the process when they've made an inquiry and booked a trial. This stuff should all be drip fed to them over the period of a couple of weeks whilst they're going through that trial phase. We want them to go from what I call a cold prospect or a cold lead. This is all sounding very corporate, so let me rephrase it. A cold inquiry. When I say cold, I mean they don't really know much about you. They haven't come across you. They maybe haven't even got friends that come. They've just seen something pop up on social media. They've clicked it. They've clicked your website, and they've made an inquiry. They've filled out your booking form, but they know very little. So they're what we call cold at this point. The process of educating and informing them through these wonderful emails and texts, this information where we're going to drip feed them all the glorious things about your school, this is going to get them warmer and warmer and warmer, so that by the time they actually have to make a decision, we've done our trial sessions, now I need to sign up, pay for the uniform, pay for my classes, however that looks for you. Am I ready to do this? We need them to go from cold to hot, because they have to be hot before they part with their money and sign up. And that process that we take them through is what's called a customer journey. And all those emails and little texts and little videos and things that you could be doing through that customer journey to get them from cold to hot is the absolute be all and end all in terms of whether they sign up, and not just sign up, but sign up to multiple classes, and not just sign up. Take a breath, Deborah, get me excited here. Not just sign up to multiple classes, but go and shout and rave about you to all their friends during this process. Like, this is what we're looking for, isn't it? This is what we're trying to create. What is the chances that you are going to write to this person and educate and inspire and warm them up every other day for 3 weeks via emails? Are you going to sit and write those emails? Are you going to get around to that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So what we need is all of these emails written in advance, put into a piece of software that then sends those out via prompts and triggers when we've asked them to send them. So email 1 goes out the minute they book their session. Email 2 goes out within 15 minutes. Email 3 goes out within 2 days, so on and so on over the course of 2 or 3 weeks. This can all happen inside specific software that generates email automation. So some examples of this are MailerLite, This is the one I recommend. It's the easiest to use and the cheapest. Currently, of course, things change. MailChimp, which used to be the easiest and the cheapest, but it's no longer. Active Campaign is another one. Constant Contact is another one. Like there are lots out there. MailerLite is the one that I currently recommend. Yes, it's going to cost you money. Yes, it's an investment in software. By the way, I can't tell you the amount of money I spend on software in my business, but it does probably 10 people's jobs. Yes, you're going to pay for that every month. But look at it this way. If people coming to the end of their trial period are 50% more likely to sign up and do multiple classes and rave about you because of the experience they had in those first 2 or 3 weeks, that is going to bring in more students, build your reputation as a 5-star school, build people that love you to death, and they've only just started with you. Like, this is worth paying out an amount of money every month. It's worth the investment. It's worth it being one of the services that you pay for in your business. So have a little look at these mail automation technologies. Okay, how are you doing? Are you still with me? I'm going to have a slurp of my coffee. By the way, if you didn't know, all of my podcast episodes are also available on YouTube. So if you prefer to watch something than listen, then head over to the YouTube channel, Dance Business Lab, and you can find all of these episodes on there. In fact, I think we've chopped them down into little short versions of each episode as well. So you can just get snippets if you want to. Go find me and subscribe. Be amazing. Thank you. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite pieces of automation because it just makes me want to scrunch my shoulders up and scrunch up my face and squeal like a child. This is why you need to be on YouTube because you can see me doing this right now. This is a piece of software called Zapier, Zapier. And Zapier creates these things called zaps. Literally, like, do you remember, those of you that are old enough to remember the original Batman series? And they used to do punches and it would go pow, zap, boom. Like, it creates zaps. And what zaps are is it takes a piece of information from one software via, I think it's called an API code key, I'm not sure. And it takes it and puts it into another piece of software without you having to manually do anything. So, for example, you could have a Zap set up so that people fill out a Google form with all their child's information and their clothes size, so the sizes for costumes, and their permission to have photos taken, and their permission for you to take the money out of their account to pay for their show fee, whatever it is, a Google form. Zapier then takes that information and adds it to a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet then has a Zap set up so that when a new piece of information is added, it sends an email to a certain person to say there's a new bit of information that's been added to that spreadsheet. Like, it literally is like ping pong. It picks up information and takes it from one place and puts it to the other. So it can take things from Gmail, it can take things from MailerLite, it can take information from your CRM, it can take information from your Trello boards. If you use Trello, that's another piece of software that I use. Like, it can literally push information all over the place. So for a great example, Trello, which I just this second mentioned, is another incredible piece of software that I would recommend to anybody running a business. It's basically a project management software where you can keep all your information on how everything runs, all your processes and tasks and documents and videos and links and logos and everything. But also you can create projects, timelines, checklists, to-do lists. You can add people to it. It's fabulous. I run my whole business on Trello and lots of my clients do too. Well, you could have a whole process set up on Trello for new trial students. And so just listen, just hang in there with me because this is just fabulous. Imagine someone makes an inquiry on your website to start a certain class and they hit sign up now, put their information in. Zapier would then take that person's information and drop it into Trello for you. So it is now in a specific place in Trello. Trello can then send you a notification to say this person has inquired for this class. You then reply to that person, thank you very much, this is the information, we'd love to see you on Saturday, You have some kind of a template ready for that. And then when they come back and say, yes, that's great, we'd like to get booked in for that, thank you very much, see you on Saturday, you drag that information from one place to the next. And in dragging it and putting it into the next part of your pipeline, it picks up the information and puts it into MailerLite, and instantly now we'll start sending them all the emails that we just talked about, the onboarding emails, just by dragging them from one place to the next inside Trello. How amazing is that? And it does more and more and more. Like, I could go on all day telling you all the different Zaps that you could work. If you Google Zapier, it will show you all the integrations. So, it will show you the things that you can create Zaps from here to here. And then the other thing you can do is multiple Zaps. So if you use a piece of software that doesn't link with your CRM, it could be that your CRM links with Trello, and then from Trello you create another Zap that goes to a Google form, and from the Google form it zaps it to somewhere else. Like, you can have multiple leaps of your information to different places via Zapier. Now, what I would say is, when I first started Dance Business Lab, I started doing everything myself. I think in a way it's quite good, because you learn how to use all these different things. You learn how a process works. And then as soon as I could, I started to outsource some of these things. So I don't use Zapier myself anymore. I have a wonderful automation queen that does all of these incredible things for me. But it's not easy. If you don't have a technologically minded brain, it can take you quite a while sitting, working out how to set up even the most basic Zap. So that's when we look at, okay, is my time and money and effort and sanity worth me trying to figure out and do this? Or am I better off just paying someone to set all this up for me? Once it's set up, it's pretty much set up. And then I can get on doing the things I love. And I don't have to spend days and days trying to work it out and then potentially give up because I couldn't get it to work. So if that's the case, then you need somebody that can do this for you. And this is where I have your back. I have your back with a lot of this stuff. And I probably should shout about it a lot more. Whether or not you're aware, I don't know. I have a separate company. Dance Business Lab is obviously, which way am I going? Dance Business Lab, I'm pointing, if those of you watching on YouTube, is the business coaching company and where I run my podcasts from. But I have a sister company called Dance Business Solutions, because I wanted to create solutions to all your problems. And when it comes to automation, setting up Zapier and MailerLite and Google Forms and CRMs, like, that can be quite challenging, can't it, for some of us? So I've tried to go about finding solutions for you so that you can just pay someone to do it for you, done for you services. So if you go to www.dancebusinesssolutions.com and you click on the service called automation, you will see my wonderful head of tech that does all this stuff for you. And you can set up an appointment to have a chat with her to talk about what you've currently got running. There might be some systems that you don't have yet that she can either set up for you or help you with. And then potentially look at creating some of these automations to A, give your customers a better service, and B, give you back hours of time. Wouldn't that be amazing if we could do that? If we could get you out of the day-to-day mundane tasks and pay a little bit of technology to do the task for us, get it all up and running in your business, and never have to worry about doing things yourself again. Amazing, hey? So I would love to know what things you currently automate, or what really excited you from today's podcast. Like, what things made you go, oh my gosh, that would be utterly incredible. Let me know in my Facebook group, Dance Business Lab Community Facebook group. Pop a post in there. Let me know that you've listened to today's episode and just tell me, I'm currently using this. I love it, but I'd love to know who else is using this or how this could work. Like, let's bring the conversation from my podcast, where it's just little old me talking to little old you, and let's bring it into the group where we can have some more collaborations and conversations. All right, my darlings, I hope that has not opened a can of worms. I hope it has inspired you to look more into what you could automate in your business. Take care, everyone. So, my friend, I want to ask you, have you been listening to some of my podcasts for a while and identified for yourself all the areas that you feel your business could be better in? Maybe you just are so busy you haven't yet mastered the working as much as you like bit. Or maybe you're just not bringing in the money, like you're struggling with the income, or it's just not enough. Well, it's time for us to have a conversation. In the show notes, there is a link to my evolution call. If you're a dance boss and you are ready to take action, let's have a chat and let's see where I can take you. Hello and welcome, lovelies, to the Ultimate Dance Business Podcast. My name is Deborah Laws, the dance business expert. My passion is to help you turn your passion into profit while guiding you to work less and earn more. I'm super excited to share interviews with you that I know will inspire and motivate you in your schools, as well as my solo shows where I shall be sharing some great tips and strategies. So if you love the show, please do remember to review, subscribe, and share it with your fellow dance boss friends. So let's get stuck into the business of dance.